I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, May the 30th, brought to you in part by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Kansas RMC is the largest standalone stem cell treatment center in the Midwest. They're in Manhattan and Kansas City, Kansas. 60% of their patients are farmers and ranchers. Check them out at kansasrmc.com. A long way till August. If you're wondering about the volatility in the feeder cattle futures right now, I told you guys not too long ago that we were going to have a long stretch of bastard months, and we're just now entering that. So we've got June and July with no feeder cattle contract, and so they're going to vacillate with that thing from one end to the other with no reason at all, because they know they don't have to get even close to what your CME cash feeder cattle index is until late August. So it's not going to be uncommon for them to go up 437 like they did on Tuesday, and then down 435 like they did on Wednesday, and that's going to happen, guys. If you're not trading in it, don't pay too much attention to it, don't get too excited. But if you haven't secured your cattle with an LRP, when it takes one of those big jumps like that, you need to get in there and dally up to that so that you can rest the rest of the summer, guys. But it's going to be really volatile here for the next 2 months for sure, and that's the reason. It's just so long before it has to tie up to anything. But we also saw your live cattle futures go down quite a bit, and you could say that the feeder cattle pulled it down, but the feeder cattle respond to the live cattle, not vice versa. And the live cattle took a hit mostly because we had one plant in the United States that was caught sending some beef with beta agonists in the beef to China, and they do not allow that. Most other countries don't allow that, including the EU, but the beta agonists in there, they promote growth, they make the cattle feed a little more efficiently, but several countries have decided they don't want beef with that. Other than the United States, you know, we don't have a problem with it. But the plant that did it, you might figure, was a Farmer's Friend, JBS in Greeley, Colorado, and China has now blocked beef shipments from that plant. Now we hope that's as far as it goes. We don't hear too much more about it, but just the news that came out on Wednesday about that shook things up a little bit, and hopefully it kind of goes back and JBS does whatever they need to do, go through some kind of a grace period, wherever they you know, aren't sending beef for a while, and then maybe have to jump through some hoops to get back in it. But so far it's just that one JBS plant from Greeley where that beef came back, and China tested it and found the beta agonists in there. Some good news come out of Centennial Livestock Auction in Fort Collins, Colorado. I told you guys on our last visit that poor rancher there, Mike Morgan, who got struck by lightning and lost over 30 head of his cows there. His widow indeed brought those orphan calves into the sale. There were several of them. Calves, they were light, little tiny peewee calves, just weighed around 200 pounds. They sold those calves by the head, and the steer and heifer calves sold from $1,100 to $1,300 per head. They had a rollover after that. So far, as of Wednesday evening, they had $40,000 gathered up, and donations were still coming in for that family. So that was great for them to do that, and thanks to Tom Fry for setting all that up. But that is a rough row to hoe right there, guys. Don't forget about your Punchy Pick of the Month. Tomorrow we're going to be awarding the Punchy Pick of the Month contest winner there, and that our grand prize winner is going to be getting some really cool stuff from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma, Beaver County Stockyards, and then of course the whole case of Fairpiece, the revolutionary product that's scientifically proven. Let's talk about your board on Wednesday. June live cattle were down $1.20 at 183.35. August was down 162 at 180.20. Your back months were all down from $1.52 to down 207. And then August pretty much took back everything it gave us earlier in the week. August feeder cattle down 435 at 260 and a quarter, which is still more than a $10 premium to what your CME cash feeder cattle index is. These feeder cattle are going to get higher, guys. Trading is going to slow this summer while all your cattle are turned out, and those yearlings, it won't take many of them to draw a crowd, and they're going to get higher. September feeder cattle down 390, 261.80. Your back months down 260 to down 370. Look at your grains. July corn was up a quarter cent a bushel at 455 and a half. Beans were down $1 and a quarter, 1 1/4 cent at 12 and 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 5 3/4 cent at 7.14 a bushel. Fat cattle trade still early enough in the week. We're not seeing a lot of trade on a direct basis. We did see a little bit of trade, and it was well within last week's range, just on mixed cattle mostly. But it's a good clue that cattle are going to be higher again this week. If guys stick to their guns, don't basis jump, and hold out for more money again. Iowa sold just a load of cattle, but they were mixed cattle, steers and heifers together. They brought $3 dressed. Nebraska sold 900. They've now sold 1,400 for the week. On Wednesday, it was a live price at 190. Kansas sold 80 head. I mean, this is nothing. It's nothing to set the market at all, but it's just some trade in there well within last week's range, so we know we can get more than that. Mixed cattle at 187. Texas did not have any sales other than some cattle on the Fed Cattle Exchange that sold really well. 188 and a quarter on some bid the grid cattle that were beef on dairy, and then they sold some cattle that were just regular cash cattle in the northern plains, just as high as they sold them last week. So good trade there. They did have a fat cattle auction. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock DVAuction broadcaster there in Worthing, South Dakota. They had a lighter run of fat cattle this week. Sold them from 185 to 194. That's both conventional and program cattle there. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts 313.62. That was up $1 and a half. Selects down 95 cents at 302.48. Your slaughter, it's not comparable with last week due to the Monday holiday, but 250,000 through the first 2 days of slaughter this week. That is just 5,000 less than the same week a year ago with the same holiday there. Talk about what else is going on. Legend Bank. If you're looking for fast and efficient cattle financing, guys, Greg Brooks and Ricky Taylor take pride in relationship lending. That is key whenever you're trying to get some financing for your cattle. You got to be able to have a relationship with them guys. Call them short notice and get taken care of there. And they're quick and responsive whenever they set up a relationship with you. For more information, go to legend.bank. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states. Late on Wednesday, sitting at 250.95. That was down $1.01. But still higher than your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, which was 248.68. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, another DVAuction broadcaster there, 7,300 head for their 2-day sale. They were light on the calves on Tuesday. It was mostly yearling feeder cattle, and they were not as high as the Tuesday sales because of the board. Tuesday was a winner on having the day of the week sale there. But Wednesday's feeder sale there at El Reno was still higher. Feeder steers sold steady to $1 higher. Feeder heifers $1 to $4 higher. Calves on Tuesday were steady in a like test. A stick-out sale in El Reno was on a load of heifers that I saw. 76 feeder heifers weighed 840 and bring 238. Not too bad. How about Russell County Stockyards in Russell Springs, Kentucky? That's way the heck out there, guys. You got to put a lot of wheels under them wherever you're going. 74 steers weighed 804 and bring 260 and a quarter. How about Cherokee Sales Company in Cherokee, Oklahoma? That's western Oklahoma. And like I told you before, in western Oklahoma, that's not farmer feeder country, guys. It's a commercial feedlot, and they're not used to buying cattle that big, but it's starting to come that way. Bigger feeder cattle are not hurting at all. You don't have to worry about getting too much weight on them. They'll make it up. But in Cherokee on Wednesday, they sold 117 steers, weighed 1,008 pounds, bring 228. Pretty respectable. They had a sale in Bassett, Nebraska. It was a lighter sale, but they still had some pretty impressive quotes out of there, including 72 steers, weighed 677. Pretty close to 700 pounds, guys, at 323. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of our one of our smaller local sale barns there. Another DV auction broadcaster, North Arkansas Livestock in downtown Green Forest, Arkansas. It's all about where it happened in that region, what they sold. It was most impressive to me on Wednesday. It was 52 steers, weighed 776. That's getting pretty close to 800 pounds, guys, at 270 1/4. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.